Visiting Oman means stunning nature, but as well indulging in its fascinating history that is still very much alive today. And no visit is complete without seeing one of Oman's most important and historic cities, Nizwa. Travel through time, to old forts, to lively animal markets, and join the grand finale of the series Oman Overland.
No, I'm now packed. I want to go now. Oh, thank you so much. So you always find new friends. For example, those people here who actually asked me for a picture.
Thank you.
So I'm off now from Sinau, from the camel market. You still see some market stands here on the side. I guess everyone packing up now, but very understandable because it's already 8 a.m. now, so it's getting hot in here. Today it's not a super long ride, but I will stop on the way. Our end goal is the super interesting and famous city Nizwa, which is about 100 kilometers from Sinau. But I'm doing a detour of maybe 1 or 2 hours more because I will take you to some old castles and fort, which I could not have done with my travel partner. My first stop on my castle tour took me to one of 2 castles that is on many itineraries when it comes to Oman tourism, to Jabareen Castle. Getting closer to this castle now, and I have to admit that I have some expectations because it is supposed to be one of the most visited and I think as well one of the most beautiful castles here in Oman. That's it. I think it's called Jabareen Castle, and it's kind of funny to me. I think it's a few hundred years old, but because this kind of architecture and especially the sandy stone is still used in Oman these days too for building, it doesn't feel like it's completely falling out of time. Like if you go to an old fort in Europe, that has basically nothing to do with the normal architecture anymore. But here it still kind of like fits in the whole surrounding even though it's old. I am inside the Jabareen fort now, and it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful forts in Oman. Let's have a look. Jabareen Castle is one of the most frequented forts in all of Oman, maybe because it is quite different from the other Omani forts and therefore is a must-see for every Oman traveler. Jabareen was a primary residential castle and was not used for military purposes like most other forts. And it is not only in an excellent condition after the renovation in 1984, but pretty much the only building from this period that is richly furnished with traditional and antique furniture from medieval Oman. It ain't a very big door to jail. The castle was built in the 17th century by Bilarub bin Sultan, and Jabareen became the capital after he was elected imam as a ruler of Inner Oman in 1688. But due to the succession disputes in the imamate, Jabareen quickly lost this function and sank into insignificance. Today it is not the center of a government anymore, but an important witness of Oman's rich history. So So just around the corner of Jabareen Castle, where I just was, there's another fort called Bala, which is very special too. I will drive there, but I'm not so sure I will enter, because the city Nizwa, where I go afterwards, has a famous fort too. And I think 2 forts a day keep the doctor away, but maybe 3 forts is too much of sightseeing, even for me. So let's go there, and because it's so close anyways, and then we see. Bala Fort is the country's biggest and only UNESCO-listed fort added in 1987. The fort is believed to have been built between the 12th and 15th century by the Banu Nephan tribe, who inhabited the area at the time and were known for controlling the trade of frankincense. As part of the complex, there is also a citadel oasis adjacent to the fort and an ancient wall, spanning 13 kilometers, part of which are still standing.
So here's one more fort. It's actually only like 10 minutes from the other one. And I'm not gonna go inside because I'm already forted out. But if you're interested in that, it's for sure a good combination.
I instead went to the old, not restored town right next to it. That gives a good feeling about the architecture and materials used for building in Oman since hundreds of years.
Al-Hamra?
Yes.
No, I'm going to Nizwa today. I have already been there.
Jebel Shams?
Yeah, I have already been.
Excellent place, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Nice.
Very nice. Jebel Shams was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Now I'm going to Nizwa, the famous town, and because it's still pretty early and actually very hot, I hope my room will be ready so I don't need to wait outside in the heat. And I can highly recommend to pre-book something in Nizwa. I only made my reservation for a room this morning, and I think 95% of all accommodation in Nizwa was booked for this weekend. So we will see. I hope it's not too busy. So this is Nizwa. My accommodation is downtown, like in the old town, and I heard it's very small there with super tiny roads. And the accommodation said it has a parking, and it was literally the only place that was still available with parking in old town. So I hope that is true. Nizwa is a mountainous city located in northern Oman, about 1.5 hours from Muscat, the capital of the country. Rich in history and culture, the place holds still to this day the importance it conquered in past centuries through its connection between the rugged interior and the outer regions of the coastal plain. Nizwa is one of the oldest cities in Oman and has always been an important place for trading and on the route of all salesmen and travelers, and still is today. Roads here are getting definitely more small. I think I should arrive soon because the accommodation is close to the fort, and I think this is it. Yes, you can read it here, Beit al-Hara. Wow, and it really has a parking spot. For me, this accommodation is already a winner because it has this parking right in Old Town, in a super cute looking old house with parking right in front of the door. I have to admit, I already love it, and it would have to be really nasty inside now for me to dislike it. But it wasn't. I can highly recommend Beit al-Hara to all individual travelers visiting Nizwa. The guest house is nestled into the tiny streets of Nizwa's old town, does not have a 24-hour reception, but the employees will welcome you on your arrival as soon as you call them. And it can't get much more authentic. The guest house has only a few rooms in the traditional old house that was just newly renovated. And the peaceful terrace not only invites you to enjoy the sunset, but as well offers a stunning view on Nizwa's old fort. So I found the perfect little guest house here in Nizwa, and it's perfect because it's one of the only places that has actually parking and is still in Old Town. And it is an old town, which means it's in these super nice roads here, and here you can see the fort. So it's perfectly located. Love it.
Part of visiting Oman at the end of the travel season is this too. I waited a few hours in my room for the worst heat to pass, and then in the late afternoon made it to Nizwa Fort that I had already seen driving by and from the guest house.
I am at the fort in Nizwa now, second fort of the day, and it's actually very interesting, especially the fortification, which is this tower that you can see behind me.
Nizwa Fort was built in the 1650s, although its base structure goes back to the 12th century. It is Oman's most visited national monument. The fort was the administrative seat of authority for the presiding imams and walis in times of peace and conflict. The main bulk of the fort took about 12 years to complete and was built above an underground stream. The fort is a powerful reminder of the town's significance. It was an amazing stronghold against raiding forces that desired Nizwa's abundant natural wealth and its strategic location at the crossroads of vital trading routes. The fort was built for military purpose, and that can still be experienced today. The main part of the fort is its enormous drum-like tower that rises 30 meters above the ground and has a diameter of 36 meters. The strong foundations of the fort go 30 meters into the ground, and a portion of the tower is filled with rocks, dirt, and rubble.
Let's go inside the fort. So when you arrive here inside the fort, there are the doors, and each of these doors has 2 traps. So if people try to enter without permission, there are 2 traps that will very likely kill them.
There are chambers where hot date syrup was led through channels to be dropped on enemies trying to enter the fort. At the tower's top you find 24 spots for cannons, and the design of the tower was completed with battlements, secret shafts, false doors, and wells to protect the fort. Access to the top of the tower is only gained by taking a narrow twisty staircase that is protected by wooden doors studded with metal spikes. And there are shafts which open directly above each set of stairs and from where boiling oil or water was poured on entering enemies, which gave them the lovely nickname murder holes. Oman's oldest souk, which means market, is the Nizwa souk in the heart of the city. Often people call it one of the most beautiful places in the Middle East, and it for sure is one of the most historical ones. The souk has a main building and a series of separate buildings to its back that house a date market, a fresh produce market, and other stalls. I was warned that Nizwa souk would be very touristic, but I still enjoyed my stroll through the old market.
Good morning, I'm up before 6 again, and I'm going to another market now, the animal auctions in Nizwa. And they don't last forever, they're supposed only to go until like 8 or something like that, so let's be quick and look at them.
The best timing to visit Nizwa is staying from Thursday to Friday. Friday morning, the whole inner city changes to a lively street market, with the main attraction being the goat market. You have to get up early though. Make sure to make your way to the market not later than 6:30 a.m. Nizwa is indeed a touristic city, but Friday morning the market is taken over by its locals and the authentic Omani life and traditional customs come alive.
Once you have made your way through the stalls with antique knives, guns and food, you will find the entrance of the goat market. People come from Nizwa and its neighboring regions as far as Ibra to trade their goats. Until 7 a.m., the visitors and buyers of the market have time to look at the animals they potentially want to get. But short before the clock ticks 7 a.m., a mystical circle forms around the central part of the market. And then, something that to me felt like a complete chaos broke loose. Yes, especially the market in Nizwa is full of energy, but if you look closely, you will understand its rhythm and structure. There's a central part with a circular area surrounding it. This is where the sellers walk in circles showcasing their animals. The buyers surround the circle from inside and outside and stop the owner with a hand gesture or by calling. That's why there is quite a high noise level with everyone shouting bids and offers. The sellers stop in front of the interested buyers who investigate the goats, weigh them in their hands, check the ribs and teeth before making a decision. After understanding the rhythm and the organization of the market, the by me assumed chaos turned into a pretty orderly structure. And in the end, I was so happy that I didn't listen to the people who said Nizwa is too touristic. Even though there were more tourists present, Nizwa's goat market was a very different experience than the camel market I visited the day before. If you would ask me which one to see, I would tell you both.
I actually thought that I had enough of markets, but actually this one was very nice. So this will be the last ride. Behind me you can see the nice guest house here in Nizwa, and I'm going back to Muscat now, and from there drop my bike and home. Perfect, thank you.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Guess who, after many years of motorcycling and traveling, parked so smart down the hill again that I couldn't get my bike up alone? Yep, it's me. Okay, now it's time to say goodbye to Nizwa. I'm riding back to Muscat now. Can you believe that this journey here in Oman is over so soon? I think it's crazy, and I'm basically only riding back to Muscat now, and then I say a night there, and then it's over. It's so sad.
Last time getting cheap fuel for about 1 rial, which is like 2-3 euros for more than 5 liters.
These are the mountains surrounding Muscat again. I feel like I should say something smart now, but I really can't come up with anything. I'm just sad that this amazing trip is over now. Yes, I think that's all. Period. Oh, Oman. This journey was indeed extraordinary. I spent nearly a month riding with my motorcycle through Oman, discovering the rawest deserts, the highest mountains, and the most spectacular coastline I have seen in my life. Oman is the perfect country to travel to, not only because the nature is diverse, because Oman is one of the safest countries on earth, or because its culture is simple, traditional, and fascinating at the same time, but mostly because of its people, beautiful from inside out, and some of the most hospitable on this planet. I came as a foreigner, and now, only a few weeks later, I felt like leaving as a friend. Oman is called the gem of the Arabian Peninsula for a good reason. And all of you guys who watch the series hopefully can understand and feel it now too.
So Brett is taking back my Tenere now.
Thanks for visiting Oman, Lou. It's been fantastic. And we look forward to welcoming you back again in the future, huh?
Hope so.
Thank you. Safe travels.
These are the last minutes in Oman with driver Yusuf again, who is bringing me to the airport. Goodbye, beautiful country.
Thank you. I hope to see you again in Oman.
I hope to see you
after a few years.
After a few years.
I hope now you have safety and nice trip.
Thank you.
When I left Oman after a month of traveling, I was not saying goodbye. I was saying see you soon. Inshallah. This was indeed a heartbreaking goodbye. But I know that you guys, after seeing all the beautiful sights and nature of Oman, probably only have one very important question left. What happened to my shoes that I carried in my bag since several days and that were full of smelly camel?
So party people, this is the very unglamorous part of traveling. Getting camel off my shoes with a toothbrush before the flight tomorrow. Putting those here to dry in the airplane. Hope they dry when I arrive in cold Zurich.
Thank you guys for traveling with me all the way through Oman. It was an awesome journey and I'm thankful for each and every one of you who participated in the virtual trip with their likes and comments. I will make a little summer break here on the channel because I'm currently traveling again shooting new videos. But I will be back soon with a live chat and new videos. I will announce the dates as soon as possible down here in the pinned comment. Stay tuned and enjoy the summer until it's time to got to go again.